The small plane is still sitting in the wooded area here off of County Road 127, which is where investigators say that plane went down last night. And just across the street here, you can see just how close that plane was to the Pearland Regional Airport. And that small plane is still in this wooded area off of County Road 127, now more than 13 hours after it went down. And because it didn't hit the ground, investigators say the pilot was able to climb out of the plane, ultimately saving his life.
What would your advice be to young girls out there, future women who are going to lead in different capacities?
120 homes in this neighborhood took on water, and volunteers with the Woodlands Church have only been able to help about a dozen so far. Many of the homeowners, retirees, and elderly couples. The victim says she made her final stop of the afternoon in the back parking lot of this Tanglewood Kroger. She says she ran in for some groceries and came out to find the back window of her car completely shattered.
Deevon Rahming with KHOU 11 in Houston has an update.
Yesterday, we spoke with CenterPoint Energy Vice President Darren Caro, who tells us it's too early to tell whether or not those still waiting to have power restored will have it back up and running in the next week or so. Farmers say of the roughly 500,000 acres here in crawfish country between Texas and Louisiana, 170,000 of those won't produce crawfish this year. And yeah, 19 hours and counting. As you can see behind me, this fire is still actively burning, but officials tell us that it is being contained here to this area. Well, guys, it is a busy morning here at Bush Airport, to say the least. As you can see behind me, this is the ticketing area of Terminal A right now, and it is just after 5 o'clock here this morning, and there are people as far as the eye can see that are trying to figure out what's next, what's going on with their flights. And within the last 30 minutes, we just learned from police that the suspect in this case, who died at the hospital, was here on the scene and was involved in some sort of assault with his girlfriend. There's still a very active scene behind me here. You can see that postal truck still sitting in the ditch here as it hit that pole this afternoon. It's waiting to be picked up as police try to figure out exactly what led up to this deadly hit and run here this afternoon. Yes, Stephanie, an unfortunate update this morning, what everyone was fearing. Fulshear police have confirmed that the 12-year-old Aisha Adebayo was found in a lake near her home, where she drowned.
Deevon Rahming live at the A-Leaf Neighborhood Center's new state-of-the-art pool with some safety reminders and a leaf blower maybe in the background. Hey, Deevon.
You know, people don't really know how to act when they see a camera out here. That was just somebody on a motorcycle. But anyway, school, yes, is out for the summer, and pools across the Houston area are open for business. It's not the most exciting news for people living here in the city of Houston. The city is proposing a tax rate increase from 52 cents to 55 cents per $100 of property value.
When you talk about being seen, did you ever have any doubt in your mind that this moment in time would come?
That's right. Wake up, Houston. What a night and what a win for the Cougs. Much more on that in a bit. But first, let's start with you. Thanks for waking up with us this morning and making us part of your morning routine. I'm Deevon Rahming. Time now is 10:49. Still ahead this morning, our Zach Tawatari was in the Cougs locker room post-game to hear from the players themselves on the big win. It's been more than 2 months since President Trump signed executive orders cracking down on immigration, leading to enhanced ICE operations across the country. Fear of raids is now having an impact on once thriving businesses now struggling to keep the doors open. Here's our Marcelino Benito. Well, right now, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton says he's relieved after prosecutors agreed to drop charges in his nearly decades-old criminal case. Well, in less than 5 hours, the woman accused of strangling her girlfriend to death during an argument over a sexually transmitted disease, well, she's due back in court. 24-year-old Shania Turner is charged with the murder of 18-year-old Tierra Horn. All right, check this out. No Shave November may be over, but a Texas man's mustache keeps growing. Not only that, it brought him his third national title. Sidney Dishon has more.
It just kind of became my look.
The sights seen throughout the River Plantation neighborhood in Conroe capture the aftermath of last week's catastrophic flooding, while the sounds speak to the relief efforts underway for those in need.
Removing all the sheetrock, all the insulation, anything that would have gotten wet.
Much of that relief due in part to Pastor Chance Park and the disaster relief team of volunteers with the Woodlands Church.
You're not only helping them with the debris and removing things, you're also kind of helping them emotionally and spiritually walk through something that is shocking at first.
Especially for the family living in this home, like many others in this neighborhood who find themselves picking up the pieces yet again.
Here's your debris line. It goes all the way across the door. If I'm not on this ramp, I'm about 5'9", and you can see that it's definitely over my head. They actually just flooded in January. They were nearly completely back in their home. They just had finishing touches to put on it from this first shocking event. And then this happens.
Roughly 120 homes in this neighborhood took on water, and volunteers with the Woodlands Church have only been able to help about a dozen so far. Many of the homeowners, retirees, and elderly couples. Help in the time of need.
We've prepared about 700 hot meals so far for this community this week.
As the sights and sounds offer a sense of relief in more ways than one.
Hopefully this entire community will feel, really loved very, very soon.
In Conroe, Deevon Rahming, KHOU 11 News. It's what Houston police call jugging, criminals stealing from you after following you from a bank or high-end store.
They will sit outside, typically in vehicles with dark tinted windows. Sometimes they will go in the bank and pose as a customer, but they work in teams. They conduct hours of surveillance.
It happened to this woman Monday afternoon.
Don't ignore this is happening.
After 2 separate stops at banks in Houston's Tanglewood neighborhood.
They followed me from place to place.
She says the first stop was at this Capital One bank off Voss Road.
I was in the bank about 20 plus minutes or so.
Before traveling just across the street to do business at Wells Fargo.
I just didn't think something like that would happen at 1-something in the afternoon.
The victim says she made her final stop of the afternoon in the back parking lot of this Tanglewood Kroger. She says she ran in for some groceries and came out to find the back window of her car completely shattered.
They're actually seen on videotape. They waited 2 minutes before they drove up behind my parked vehicle. They actually jumped in and pulled the bag out from underneath the driver's side. I didn't have anywhere to put it on me, and I didn't want to get out and go into the store with that on me.
A move that's left her both shaken and frustrated, asking if more can be done.
What about my marginalized communities who that was their very last? That is not okay. When I'm on your property, I expect to feel safe, and I don't anymore.
She's the face of public safety for Houston Independent School District, and for Chief Shamara Garner, timing is everything.
Did you have ever imagined that you'd be sitting where you are today?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I never doubted my leadership ability. I've always had that, but I always kind of felt more comfortable in helping behind the scenes.
After serving 28 years with the Houston Police Department before retiring as a lieutenant.
Retired on a Friday and started here on a Monday.
Her greatest leap of faith 7 months ago, now making history, being the first woman to lead the state's largest school district's department since its inception in 1994.
Throughout the nation, there's about 3% of females are, chief of police for various agencies. So it's not something that just is a Houston or a Houston Independent School District issue. It's, something across the board in terms of female law enforcement, female leadership. I always thank you guys for the job.
Which is why for Chief Garner, representation, qualifications, and promotions matter.
Since the beginning of my career, there were female officers who helped me along the way. When it comes to recruiting females, if we see each other, that helps.
What would your advice be to young girls out there, future women who are going to lead in different capacities?
The leadership is really about influence and relationships. So make sure that the influence that you have is a positive one, the relationships you have are positive, and you are adding value to others.
Knowing timing is everything.
Hone your craft, if you will, if that's the route you want to take. Study up on it, do what you can to make yourself ready for when the moment comes. As it pertains to leadership,
Beyonce said it best, who run the world? Girls. I love it.
In Houston, Deevon Rahming, KHOU 11 News.
This is actually our first physical space.
Oh, wow.
They say seeing is believing, and for Houston native Atlantis Narcissus, believing in herself has been a tall order.
It took me 15 years to get a job as Atlantis. Even though I have college education, an excellent work resume, I had people challenge my parent authority. And me, being that I stand 6'3", there's definitely no way that somebody's gonna look down on me, right? So I kind of looked at what you would call challenges as, oh, I'm gonna show you I could get through this. I've worked with so many people, so many orgs.
For more than 20 years, she's been at the forefront of the fight for transgender rights in Houston.
We're here trans this and we hear all this trans joy. That wasn't a thing.
Acknowledging the needs of those seemingly forgotten.
No one was doing what I was doing before this, right? No one was thinking about trans wellness and the fullness of outside of being connected with gay men, or going in there teaching doctors how to take care of you or not being heard.
Leading her to launch Save Our Sisters United in 2016, a nonprofit empowering trans women of color while providing a space to belong.
To shed our shame, see our strength, share our story.
Work which hasn't gone unnoticed by the Greater Houston LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce.
I have worked alongside the Chambers for quite a while.
A partnership she takes great pride in as this year's recipient of the Chamber's Community Legacy Award.
What does that mean to you to be able to receive this honor?
I get to be seen when Black trans women have been so far on the totem pole underground. I get to be honored by my community, and I get to show me in a different light.
When you talk about being seen, did you ever have any doubt in your mind that this moment in time would come?
I never came into it to be seen in the matter to get accolades. But now I am glad that now I am no longer a silhouette in the corner. People will see your body of work and celebrate that, but not understand it's a body that's doing the work that needs to be celebrated. But as you see, there's no face.
Work, creating a lasting legacy future generations will one day see.
It comes at its own cost, especially when you do this work.
So they too can believe.
We have to realize that quality of life is not a one-size-fits-all. And we have to say, though we are built as a collective, we still have individual needs that don't mirror the same.
In Houston, Deevon Rahming, KHOU 11 News.